Do Moscow's police officers speak English?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can you tell me what's the name of this place?
Yes, this is the Red Square.
Okay, Red Square.
And this is the 0 kilometer, and this is the monument of Marshal Zhukov.
Why do police officers in Moscow's parks ride horses?
The mounted police are very effective in parks and urban woodlands. When you're on a horse, it's easier to go up or down hills and maneuver between the trees.
Why are bodyguards from Russia the best in the world?
We've accumulated so much more experience than either American or European security guards, not to mention our Israeli or Asian colleagues. And so we've set our own standards.
Hello everybody, I'm Michael Gibson and it's Capital Ideas Life. Moscow has just appeared in a list of the top 10 cities of the world from a point of view of great living conditions. This is according to a survey by an international company called Resonance. The survey looked at the 100 cities around the world, and each city they tested for a number of indicators, including growth of infrastructure, ease to find work, the cultural conditions of the city, tourism and the economy. In first place was London. Well done, London. And in the top 5 we see New York, Paris, Barcelona and Tokyo. Moscow is in fact higher than San Francisco, Chicago, Dubai and Singapore. So let's talk about security. For example, in Moscow in 2014, they created a special tourist police. These guys fundamentally patrol the center of the city, and they speak a bunch of different languages, not just English.
You will see it through the fountain. So you go straight and it'll be there. Yes. Some questions about Moscow? You're staying in Moscow?
We just came yesterday. I'm just seeing places.
Oh, I see.
We are with a group actually.
After the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi and before the FIFA World Cup in Moscow, it was clear that there were not enough police officers who could speak English with visitors from abroad. To solve that problem, special English-speaking police squads were formed in the top visited Russian cities. The most important requirement for those squads was having proficiency in spoken English.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Can you tell me what's the name of this place?
Yes, this is the Red Square.
Okay, Red Square.
And this is the 0 kilometer, and this is the monument of Marshal Zhukov.
Okay. And I know that there is a building here. It's very famous. Can you tell me the name of that building?
Which
like,
one? It's
I don't know. Like the top of that is like ice cream, something like that.
St. Basil Cathedral, maybe you mean. It's
yeah?
inside the Kremlin, so you should. So it's one of the famous cathedral in Russia, and you should come inside the Red Square.
Okay.
So there, from the arch, from the gates, and you will see it.
The tourist police turns 5 this year. There are 200 tourist police officers in Moscow alone. They all wear special arm patches, both in Russian and English, to let foreign guests know that they speak English and are ready to help them find their way around the city.
Tourist police works since 2014. Our main duty is to maintain public order, and also we all must know foreign language.
Yulia has been a police officer for 13 years now. She is also a pro in boxing, kickboxing and karate. More than once, she has been the winner of Sambo championships among police officers. For the last 4 years, she has been mostly working with foreign tourists. She can tell you how to get to any point of interest or street in the city centre. And, of course, she is responsible for keeping the peace. The most memorable event for her was the FIFA World Cup.
So last year we had FIFA World Cup, and there was different, of course, curious situation, but the All the championship was very friendly. People was very positive. We did not have any bad occasions, but we had some curious situation. One of this situation was that American fans they came to the stadium and they did not want to come in without a special spray to prevent the attacks of the bears, and so that's why we asked them to let them outside. Or maybe to keep it in the special safe room, but they was very afraid to come into the stadium, and maybe for 15 minutes. So we are talking to them and saying, no, bears will attack you there, so don't be afraid, please. So you are safe. So this was I think the most fun occasion, but they was really afraid, you know. So.
The tourist police patrol multiple routes around the central part of the city. Each patrol squad has 12 to 14 routes. Patrol routes cross various points of interest frequented by foreign tourists.
You cross Red Square towards St. Basil's Descent, and there you'll see Zaryadye Park.
English is not the only foreign language spoken by tourist police officers. Many of them also have a good command of French, Spanish, or Italian.
I'm blown away by the fact that there are police officers here who can freely speak French. It's great that police officers in Moscow can speak not only English. When I was getting ready for my trip to Russia, I didn't know there was such a thing as tourist police here.
Junior Sergeant Nikolai Massin admits that when he first joined the police, he also did not know that the tourist police existed.
I joined the touristic police in 2018, 23rd of August, and I joined it because for a reason. My grandmother was in forensics. She was a writing expert.
Every year, more and more tourists are coming to Russia, and especially to Moscow. In 2018, the Russian capital alone was visited by 23 million people. In response to that, the number of tourist police officers has been growing as well.
Safety and security are key issues for any large city. They greatly affect its attractiveness both to visitors from abroad as well as international investors. This is why Moscow authorities pay great attention to the development of advanced security systems. And the 2018 FIFA World Cup has shown that the city is more than capable of doing this on a professional level.
We just saw the tourist police in action, and now we have right here with us Alexei Labaryov, president of the Association of Russian Police Unions. He will tell us about the international cooperation of the Russian police. Hello, Alexei Yurovich.
Hello.
We are living in a globalized world without borders. There are many criminals abroad. What threats do they pose?
Yes, we have sports without borders, medicine without borders, and internet without borders. Criminals often operate across borders too, and they use the latest information technologies. So we have to learn to do so as well. This is why we have founded the International Association of Police Unions. We work very closely with Serbia, Greece, Austria, Germany, and other countries.
The World Police and Firemen Games have been held every 2 years since 1985. Police officers and firefighters compete in various Olympic and job-related sports. The latest games, where a Russian team also participated, were held in Los Angeles. They attracted more than 8,000 athletes from 67 countries.
The national team of the Dynamo Society includes 256 athletes from 39 regions across Russia. This year I was very pleased with our swimmers, who on average won 21 to 22 gold medals a day.
Athletes from the Dynamo team took part in competitions in 22 different kinds of sports and brought home a total of 316 medals.
The Ministry of Internal Affairs sent a pretty large team to the most recent World Championship. It consisted of officers from all across Russia. We spent 10 days there. The championship included competitions in various disciplines. Teams were made up of officers from different law enforcement and public security agencies. Not only the police, but also firefighters. It was quite challenging. Throughout my career, I've taken part in 2 European championships and 1 world championship. And what I liked about those games was that the refereeing was always objective.
At the last World Police Championship, the Russian team won even more medals than during the previous games. I was told that you'd been traveling a lot to different countries to meet your colleagues.
Yes, I used to take our athletes to different countries all around the world. They're improving, and so are we. We pay close attention to the methods our foreign colleagues use, and even to some social aspects, such as wages, recreation, and housing.
We have this thing in London called Neighbourhood Watch. It's where people watch their neighbourhood to assist the police. Is there such a thing here in Moscow?
Yes. We have this social movement called Safe Capital. It was started several years ago under the auspices of the Security Committee of the Moscow City Duma. This movement brings together our veterans, law enforcement unions, young people, and the general public. Everyone who wants to help. They go on patrols and organize different public and sporting events. They go on night inspections with the police, where they visit local shops to make sure that they don't sell alcohol at night, or pharmacies to make sure that they aren't selling controlled substances. They also organize awareness campaigns among children and teenagers. They give lectures and so on. They do whatever they can to help out. More and more people are joining us, and we're getting more and more help.
I discovered that the parks in Moscow are policed by policemen on horseback, which is a lot more convenient than on foot. In fact, in London, we also have police on horseback. They are among some of the oldest divisions in the London police, and they're responsible for patrolling big events with huge crowds. Imagine Gorky Park, where we are right now. It's huge, 120 hectares, and at weekends there are about 100,000 people that come to visit. That's why they need to patrol this place with police on horseback. Hello.
Hello.
Please tell us how many hours you spend in the saddle every day.
About 6 hours.
And how many kilometers do you ride?
5 or more. It depends on the length of the route.
Do you patrol only this park, or do you go to a different park every day?
Besides parks, we also keep the peace at concerts, public and sporting events, everywhere where lots of people are gathered together.
Where there are lots of people. How do people feel when they see a police officer on a horse?
If we take soccer games, for example, fans are usually much more calm and restrained.
I see that many people want to take a picture with you.
Yes, everyone wants to take a picture or to come over and pet my horse.
Especially children.
Yes, it's unusual for Moscow to see such a big animal in a park.
Позитивно. The Moscow Police is one of the largest mounted units in Europe. It consists of 1,000 mounted officers and 255 horses. There are mounted police stations in all of Moscow's parks. Kolomenskaya, Tsaritsina, Kuzminki, Bitsa, Krylatskaya, and Lasany Ostrov.
Our officers keep the peace and maintain order at large public events that sometimes attract 100,000 people or more, like soccer games or concerts. They also patrol lakes and riverbanks, which Moscow has many of. They stop people from drinking in public, and sometimes even save people from drowning. One of our officers who serves in the 1st Squadron of the Mounted Police Unit even has a national medal for life-saving.
For mounted police officers, every day at work starts from the moment they groom their horses. They need to get their horses ready for service. They need to clean them, put on their harnesses, and clean the stables. After a short briefing, officers are then dispatched to their designated parks. Horses are transported via special vehicles.
The mounted police are very effective in parks and urban woodlands. When you're on a horse, it's easier to go up or down hills and maneuver between trees. In most cases, people are surprised to see a police officer on a horse. They often want to pet my horse or give my horse a treat, even though horses can't eat when they're harnessed. People just love to take pictures with our horses, especially children. When a new horse is purchased and then brought to our unit, our horse trainers train it in the riding hall. Training includes many disciplines, including dressage, and helping the horse get used to sudden movements and loud noises. Trainers explode smoke bombs, make loud noises, wave flags, and throw paper balls. All kinds of things to get horses prepared for service in a large city.
Each mounted police department has a vet who takes care of the horse's health. They even have blacksmiths.
I'll show you the whole process. I've already taken off the horseshoe. Let me show you how it's done. Give me your foot. You remove the old horseshoe and clean the sole. Horse hooves keep growing all the time, just like big fingernails. I've already cleaned this one, but I'll clean it a bit more just to show you. It doesn't hurt at all. Each hoof has this arrow-shaped portion. It's called a frog. It's like a blood pump that feeds minerals and vitamins to the hoof so that it doesn't disintegrate. You need to carefully trim the frog. Otherwise, the horse can get a limp. You need to do it with a special file, such as this one. It's like a nail file. You need to make the surface of the hoof even as possible. Then you nail a new horseshoe in place using special nails. These aren't ordinary nails. You have to buy them in special hardware stores. Now I drive the nails into the hoof. I work right along the hoof wall. The horse doesn't feel any pain.
On average, horseshoes are changed once a month, but it all depends on the rate of wear. If a horse walks on pavements a lot, it will need to change shoes after just 2 weeks. The Moscow Mounted Police Unit is often visited by foreign delegations. Police officers from France, the UK, and the Czech Republic come here to discuss and exchange best practice. In one of the last editions of Capital Ideas, I read a fascinating article with Dmitry Fedorov. He is the president of the National Bodyguard Association, and we've had the chance to ask him a couple of questions. Dmitry Fedorov is president of the National Bodyguard Association of Russia. He was in charge of protecting President Reagan and Gorbachev and Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. He has been working as a bodyguard for more than 40 years. In 2002, he was contracted by Microsoft to protect Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer during their visits to Moscow. He also served as a bodyguard for Sergey Brin, one of the founders of Google. Dmitry believes that the Russian bodyguard school is the best in the world.
Today, there are 4,000 to 5,000 professional bodyguards in Moscow. It's hard to quote an exact number because it's a rather secretive market. There are about 50,000 millionaires, dollar millionaires, in Moscow. They're the primary consumers of this type of service. Being a bodyguard requires maintaining privacy and secrecy. That's why it's impossible to know the exact number. We have some unique skills. The thing is that the Russian bodyguard school is already a century old. It takes its roots not from the Russian czars, but from the times of Lenin. And during the times of Stalin, his bodyguards developed a systematic approach, which is still used today by bodyguards protecting our country's leaders. No one else in the world has this kind of experience. We've accumulated so much more experience than either American or European security guards, not to mention our Israeli or Asian colleagues. And so we've set our own standards. These standards are based on the traditions of our bodyguard school and the best practices of the modern-day private bodyguard business.
Whether you're in Moscow or any other city or country, there's always the risk that you might come across hooligans or thugs who might steal a favorite watch or a beautiful mobile telephone. Fortunately, no such thing has happened to me, touch wood, but in order to protect myself in the future, I've decided to have a few lessons in self-defense. This is Mikhail Lebedev. He has been in professional sports for more than 20 years. He regularly took part in competitions as a member of the Moscow Select Muay Thai team. But Mikhail is not merely a successful athlete, he's also a great coach. He has been training other athletes for 4 years now. Mikhail, hi. So, where should we start today?
Today we're inside a gym, not outside, and we're going to start with a warm-up. Let's warm up our shoulders and elbows. Now let's run around the mats. Let's go. Warm up your shoulders a bit more. 3 times in this direction. 1, 2, 3. And now 3 times the other way. 1, 2, 3. Now it's time to warm up your hands, wrists, and neck in circular movements.
Warming up your hands is very important.
3 in one direction and 3 in the other. Yes, it's very important. You need to warm up all those tendons and ligaments. Now that we've warmed up, it's time to learn some fighting moves. In this first situation, imagine that someone is attacking you and trying to hit you on the side. You can easily block the strike. It's just one simple move. You extend your arm. Put your hand on the back of their head and strike them with your knee. Now I'm going to attack you, and you're going to try and block my strike. I'm about to hit you. Grab the back of my head and kick with your knee. You don't need any perfect technique to be able to defend yourself during a street fight. You just need a couple of good moves. Moves that can help you protect yourself in a street fight. There's the clinch, where you hold your opponent by their neck or body. And then there are blocks against punches and kicks. The clinch is one of the most basic elements of self-defense.
It's not that hard, so what next?
The next situation is when someone attacks you and tries to kick you.
With their leg?
If the kick is coming from below, if they try to kick you like this, or like this, you can also block it. You can grab their leg and kick them back. When a person is standing on one leg, they can easily lose their balance. It's so easy to knock them down. One hit and they're on the ground. Michael is well trained. It's a nice advantage to have when someone tries to attack you on the street and you need to defend yourself.
The
third situation is when they attack you with a knife. Then you knock their hand away and strike them with your elbow, like this. We need to get as close as possible to your opponent. And the fourth situation is when somebody attacks you from behind. Grab me.
Like this?
Yes. Or you can do it like this.
Okay. Point, okay. So like this?
Then you can either kick them,
Yes.
step hard on their toes,
That's clear.
or kick them hard in the groin.
Misha, thanks so much. It was so interesting. I really learned so much today from you. Thanks a lot. So now I'm definitely ready to defend myself on the streets. But the most important thing is to remember all those great moves in time. Okay, friends, so today on the program we've had a lesson in self-defense and I've managed to remember a few really cool moves. We also got to meet the police, even on horseback. How cool was that? And of course, without them, law and order in Moscow simply would not be possible. I'm Mike Gibson. See you soon.